Welcome to our weekly free webinars organized by Pure Bliss Akram, Holistic Place to Heal. My name is Karolina Nadolska and I am an Ayurvedic consultant and iridologist. Today's topic is cow or plant-based milk. Which one is better for you? And are you sure you are making the right decision choosing one over the others? So I'm starting with the small digression. With my family, we have traveled extensively through Southeast Asia, through countries like China, Taiwan, Cambodia, Vietnam. And we have noticed that people that are lactose intolerant and culturally don't use a lot of milk and milk products have big problems with osteoporosis and with bone density. So the statistics are aligned with our observations, obviously. In Japan, 26% suffer osteoporosis. And this is also very interesting because Japan has incredible strides and it's with its milk lunch in school or milk in school policy, it has reduced a lot of cases of osteoporosis and improved bone density. In Vietnam and Indonesia, statistics are even worse, with 50% of women over 70 have problems, severe problems even with osteoporosis. So when we compare those countries with the country like India, where 95% of the population is actually vegetarian, some of them are vegan, like Jainists, then the statistic is very interesting because only 5% of population suffers osteoporosis. And this is, you have to take into consideration that Indian diet, it's a very simple plant, lentil, bean-based diet. Yet the population, when you are there, they generally have very straight backbones and strong bones. So this is just from our observations. And then we have been, I have read a very interesting article in New York Times, Are Plant Milks Good for You? And this table that I've created is also integrates the article. So I try to compare cow milk to 2% cow milk to other plant-based milks. And I know that whenever I go to my organic store, every month I have another option of plant-based milk. So hemp and others. I very modestly here have only 6 choices versus cow milk. So the cow milk has 8 grams of protein, 146 calories. It has calcium, vitamin D, vitamin B12, phosphorus, and potassium. And what does that mean to our body? Well, that means that it has protein, so it's good for our muscles. It has calcium, so it's good for our bones, and vitamin D, also for our skin. It has vitamin B12, which is also good for our nervous system. Phosphorus, potassium, that's wonderful for our circulation and for our heart. And this is actually aligned with what Ayurveda is saying, and I'll tell you in the following slides. When it used to be the number one alternative to cow milk was soya milk, and soya milk has 105 calories. It has some calcium, vitamin A, D, and this is all added. And so it depends on how much you want to spend and what version you actually want to choose from. It has 6 grams of protein, so this is actually pretty good. So the two main issues with soy milk is the sweeteners, the added sugar that usually the soy milk has, And I speak here from the perspective, from the first-hand perspective. I am diabetic. So whenever I have been on the, for many years, I had been on the plant-based milks. And in the beginning, I chose soy milk. And whenever I had soy milk added to my cappuccino, I had to always ask, can I see the container, how much sugar it has? And it used to have a lot. So the second issue that you should take into consideration is the mimic compounds that mimic estrogen. They are called isoflavones, and they're not necessarily the best for the male population. The second preferred version or option for plant-based milks are almonds, and they have their unsweetened version has around 37 calories per cup, and it has very little proteins and it has very little carbohydrates. So for that milk to really work, very often it has added sugar. And another thing interesting, since we talk here from the Ayurvedic perspective, Ayurveda really likes almonds and recommends daily almond consumption for all of the people. So instead of drinking the almond milk, buy almonds and eat 6 to 7 almonds. You will feel very healthy. Oat milk, this is another alternative, 120 calories, as you can read, 7 grams of added sugar, not the best, and 3 grams of proteins. So Ayurveda, as most of the alternative medicine or non-allopathic schools, really speaks very highly of oat, as also with its wonderful fibers that clean your intestines and make sure that you are regular. So if you really like oats, go for porridge in the morning. It will really do you good. Coconut milk, it has very little protein and it's very high on saturated fats. So if you have elevated cholesterol or LDL levels, this is not the milk that you should go with. One of my patients, he actually is intolerant of the cow milk, which causes increased phlegm production for him in his sinus infections. So he went through all of the preferred here, all of the plant-based milks, and he tells me that the pea milk, it's really very tasty and it's number one. So for that individual. So I just wanted for you to point out that pea milk has 8 grams of proteins, so it's the same as cow's milk, and it has 70 calories. So if you buy unsweetened or little sweetened version, this is your probably pick. This is what we recommend. And rice milk, a very expensive water. It's better probably to drink water. It has 115 calories, it has almost no proteins, and it has fast digesting carbohydrates coming from rice, plus added sugar. So this is like big dessert with no benefits. So whenever choosing, if you are not lactose intolerant, whenever choosing or whenever you have problems with phlegm, whenever choosing plant-based milks, check the container and see the quality of the products and the ingredients and see how much added sugar was there. And this is one of the things that I read in the articles about Generation Z. The Generation Z, this is teenagers to probably 20-something. They generally don't like milk, the cow's milk. They think cow's milk negatively affects our environment and that it's not really en vogue. Many influencers are soy-based or almond-based. So the way that the milk has been really marketed to that generation is that milk is really a sports drink. And why? Because it has electrolytes and it has precise ratio of carbohydrates to proteins, which helps muscles recover faster after workout. And this is very close to what Ayurveda is saying, because Ayurveda says that cow's milk nourishes all 7 basic tissues. So it nourishes the lymph, the blood, obviously bones, and all of the other tissues. So both Ayurveda and science came together on that point. Another point that young people really bring when you talk to them about drinking cow's milk is the negative environmental impact that the cows have on the CO2 and methane emission. Well, I did some calculation, especially for you. So almonds. Almonds, number 1 exporter of almonds is California, and number 2, Iran. So if, and we know that in California, we have huge problems with water and droughts and fires. To grow 16 almonds, you need 57 liters of water, which is around 15 gallons. To have a 1 liter in the container when you buy, usually it's approximately a liter of almond milk, 8%, let's say, you need 80 grams of almonds. For 80 grams of almonds, you need probably around 220 to 230 liters of water. Plus, you need to wash the almonds, you need to peel them, and you need water to create milk. So we are talking about incredible aspects of water that California doesn't have. And so next time when you choose almond because of the environmental issues and preservation, think about that. Coconut milk, number 2. Coconut milk, it's cultivated, the coconuts are cultivated in Southeast Asia. And there you have the huge issues of environmental impact of the deforestations and, of course, on biodiversity. So we are talking about coconut milk and coconut oil. Soy milk. Soybean products and its environmental impact. Using alternative feed to feed livestock, deforestation, increased carbon emission, negative impact on soil and water, and biodiversity loss. So all of this is something that you have to take into consideration. You also, when you think about positively affecting your communities, if you go for a smaller organic milk producers or dairy farms, you give them something to sell and for the community to thrive. Community that also produces vegetable and organic plants, not only cow milk. So Ayurvedic perspective. Okay. So Ayurveda, this is traditional Indian medicine that has been created by around 3,000 years ago, believes that entire universe is composed of 5 elements of air, space, fire, water, and earth. And out of these 5 elements, you have doshas. And the doshas are either vata, air and space, pitta, fire and water, and kapha, earth and water. And your digestive potential and your evacuation potential can be characterized either by vata, pitta, or kapha. So you either have good digestion, but sometimes good, sometimes not so good, fluctuating. You may have constipation, then you have vata. If you have pitta, then you burn like a fire through everything. And then you can have kapha, which is steady but slow. And since it's slow, it can have some fermentation. It can have phlegm production and congestion in your sinuses and in your lungs. So based on that, and based on the characteristic of your digestion and evacuation, Ayurveda always recommends milk unless you are, of course, lactose intolerant. And if that milk, you have also many milk products like kefir, mango lassi, or fresh cottage cheese, should be especially designed for you and for your capability to digest. How do you do that? Well, so again, the perspective on milk, since it nourishes 7 main tissues in our body, it promotes health and immunity and strength in our bodies. And to do this, that's why we recommend highly milk also for vegetarians. So how do you, going back to the previous slide, how do you make sure that you and your digestion works well while drinking organic, good quality milk? First thing, you never drink cold milk. You always drink boiled milk. Why? Because heating the milk changes its molecular structure, so it's much easier for human to consume and to digest. And it reduces the kapha, the mucus quality in milk. And then, as I said, Ayurveda, it's all about spices and herbs. So to make the milk easier for you, you can add turmeric, which also decreases the inflammation in your body, and it has thousands of incredible abilities to increase metabolism, to improve metabolism, to really increase absorption of insulin and insulin sensitivity, and to clean blood. So turmeric is a wonderful, wonderful herb that it works very well with black pepper, and it works very well with milk. And if you add to that ground cinnamon, you have a wonderful drink that nourishes, and I hope you enjoy it. If you can also add jaggery, also called as molasses. So this is the unpurified sugarcane. And then alternative to this is also ginger, which promotes your digestion. You can add half a spoon of ginger, also with jaggery or without, and you can drink milk. The ginger generally reduces the heaviness of milk and decreases mucus causing side effects. So when traveling in India, I had many of this chai masala tea, and this is the cup for chai masala tea. So you know the size, this is like 60 milliliters, and I had a couple of this a day. How do you prepare chai masala? For chai masala, you boil milk, you add maybe cow's milk, or even better, my preferences go to buffalo milk. You add to that cinnamon, ginger, cloves. You can add nutmeg to improve also your bowel movement. You can fresh cinnamon and black pepper. If you are congested, you can also add turmeric. You boil this for at least 10 minutes. The idea is for all the spices to release their magical qualities, and you drink it. And this is actually very interesting because I am, as I told you, diabetic type 1, and milk, it's really on our blacklist because of the lactose. So this is carbohydrate type. So when I started drinking chai masala, I thought I have to inject to enjoy this drink. It turned out that I don't, because of the cinnamon, which improves the circulation, because of black pepper that increases metabolism, and because also of cardamom. So when you combine all of the spices in milk, you'll actually benefit as diabetic, and your insulin sensitivity will also benefit on that. And Yes. Why milk has also another quality in Ayurveda. It's called apana, and it's very often used as a drink to take with herbs that are recommended for your particular disease or disorder. Why? Because milk has this incredible quality of taking all the herbs into deep into your tissues and affect your body on many levels. Okay. Yes. Mhm. So, as I said, I have been a long time ago. I was on microbiotic diet for many years, and I started with soya milk, and then I switched to coconut milk, and I have been drinking cow's milk for the last 4 years. So if that's your case, that you are on plant-based milk and you want to switch to good quality organic milk, then you should do it gradually. And gradually, it probably means that this size, 50, 50 to 60 milliliter of boiled milk with ginger. You can add a little bit of molasses to it to improve the taste. So, okay, so milk is wonderful. So, why and how come it has such negative publicity? Always the devil is in the details. You know that our population on the planet keeps growing. We have almost or more than 8 billion people living. So, whenever there is a fashion for something, it immediately creates mass production. And mass production meaning not the healthiest and not the best for the environment. So when you buy milk, cow's milk, remember it needs to be non-homogenized. Why? Because homogenization of milk it's a process that can easily clog the finer channels of your circulation. So actually, it's not good for your heart also. And if you buy regular milk from non-organic, then it probably has RBGH. This is the growth hormone for cows that you probably don't want to have in your body. So that's why it's so important to go for organic drink, organic milk. Check if it's non-homogenized. Check also pasteurization method. If in very small cases you really dislike the taste of milk, you can always go for goat milk. This is the number 2 preference for Ayurveda. But please try it once before buying many liters because it has a very strong taste, at least the original stuff. And as I told you, Ayurveda uses milk, cow's milk, to bring all the prescribed herbs deep into your tissues to repair deeply into your body. And that's why also Ayurveda recommends milk as a sleeping pill. How do you do that? 30 minutes before you go to sleep, you grind with freshly ground nutmeg, about half a spoon. You mix it in hot boiled milk. You might add a half a spoon of jaggery and you drink it. And you sleep like a baby. And speaking of babies, warm milk, it's also a great afternoon snack for children when coming back home after school. So if you liked our webinar, and please sign up for next week's webinar. And remember, if you want to find out about your constitution, your characteristics of your digestion, and also find out what diets are, or what meal plans are the best for your particular case, and your particular case in case if you have any health challenges, Please sign up for our consultations at pureblissakram.com consultations. We have wonderful doctors working all together to make sure that you are healthy and happy. And as an open community, we want to share our knowledge with everyone. So in case if you have a dilemma or health issue and you want us to discuss it, please send us a question and say, please create a webinar on, for instance, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, at pureblissakram.com contacts. And I promise you we'll do it. So take care, namaste, live happily, and watch our webinars.